I'm finally getting around to putting all the shots together from this video, and it's a video I've been wanting to make for a while. I'm going to do a full gear breakdown of my bike, components on the bike, and then how I load all the bags up, what bags they are, and all of that stuff. And then I'm going to bring the bags inside here and go through everything in each bag and just go one by one. This is going to be a longer video. I'll have chapters lined up at the bottom so you can skip around to whatever you want to look at. And a disclaimer before I start. One is I travel heavy. I think my bike, dry loaded, it would be like 80 pounds. The bike itself, 25, 30 pounds. With all the gear I have and the bags, I think it would get around 80. But I'm not sure on that. I haven't weighed it in a while. Also, this was my first tour. I've never bicycle toured before this, and I ended up making it nearly 10,000 miles around the western U.S. mostly. It was about a year and a half I was on the road. I didn't stay in hotels, with the rare exception when traveling with a friend and they would get a hotel room. I camped out pretty much every single night, and I don't say that to brag. I say that to give a heads up of like how I traveled. Traveling that way, I carried stuff maybe someone who's doing more regular hotel stays would not need or almost never need, you know. Another thing to remember, you don't need all this stuff. I'm going to go over I carry a lot of crap. And if you're new to cycle touring or bike packing or whatever you want to call it, you don't need all the stuff I have. You don't need the quality of product that I have. I was fortunate enough at the time when I was preparing for this to get some really nice stuff, get Ortlieb bags and things like that. You don't have to have Ortlieb bags to travel. You don't have to have a specific model of touring bicycle to travel or a specific type of tire. You don't need any of that. It can be helpful. It can be very nice to have, but you don't need it, and I don't want to come off that way at any point in this video. You can go with very simple, very budget-friendly setups if you want. And I saw a guy from Canada who he was freaking crushing it. He was doing 100-mile days on a regular basis. I camped out with him one night, and we talked, and he carried the most minimal, simple setup I saw on the trail. He had a bivy sack, no ground mat, and a sleeping bag, and just a few knickknacks and a couple rear saddlebags, a loaf of bread, and some trail mix and peanut butter. And he didn't even have a spoon. I cooked dinner for the both of us that night, and I had to let him borrow one of my utensils. Yeah, just a super bare bones. And he was happy. He was happy. He was having fun. And that's what it's about to me, is getting out, having fun. You know, you find your own way of doing it. Without further ado, I'll get started on the bike and then go over that and then come back in here and go over all the bags. This is a older Surly long haul trucker I bought used from someone in Colorado. It has the rim brakes and 26-inch wheels. And on it I have as far as tires go, the Schwalbe Marathon Plus mountain bike tires, and they've lasted around 9,000 miles. It's insane. They're at the end of their life. They've been at the end of their life for probably 2,000 miles. I've been getting flats much easier with them for the last 2,000 miles. But still, the fact that they've been running for 9,000 is just insane. These Chester race face pedals, these have been doing great. I've had these for, I'd say about 4,000 miles, I think, and maybe more. And it's a 3 gears in the front and 9 in the back. I have the Ortlieb Sport Rollers in front and back with a 31-liter Ortlieb rack pack. Those have done fantastic. I've had these on since Jackson, Wyoming. So I forget how many thousand miles that's been, but yeah, the Ortlieb stuff's pretty bomb-proof. And then this is my camp chair here, the Crazy Creek Hex 2.0 camp chair. And I have a bungee cord to kind of hold all this in place. And on top of that is my Sea to Summit 10-liter folding bucket. I just run the belt loop through the bungee cord right here. And this is my reflective, not really vest, but you know, same thing. It's just straps and it easier to put on top of coats and things. And I have the large frame pack here. This has been good, but I'm not a fan of the zipper really, just because I hate the feeling of it when I'm reaching in and out, and it can make things a little harder to get in and out of there. If I go with the frame bag on the next bike, I want to build a different bike here, I will probably switch this out for something else. But the Surly Long Haul Trucker was great, did great. I didn't have any problems with the frame. I have the Brooks C17 here. I don't like it. It was uncomfortable for me. And I switched from a B17, which the carved, B17 carved, and I wish I had kept that. I have it at home here. I shipped it back, so I may be switching that back on if I don't get a different saddle altogether. Up in the cockpit area, these are 3 Revelet design bags, 2 feed bags, and 1 top tube. They've all done great and held up well. You can see this is very sun faded. I've had these 3 the whole trip. That's for later. And everything works just fine. My feed bag did have this tear out. This is my dog spray. I always keep dog spray now. And the elastic here has given out. Anything I put in this that's not stuffed in like a bandana is just gonna fly out. So I don't really put anything in here anymore. But the cinch mechanism still works fine. The fabric still doing good, and haven't had any real issues with either of these. They've both held up great, and I tuck extra carabiners on the sides here. My handlebars are the Jones H loop bar with the 2.5-inch rise. I've really liked these. Yeah, great handlebars, and they saved me a few times from having the extra torque for turning. I almost went down on some soft sand a couple of times, and having that extra control helped out. This little mirror, I am never going to ride without a mirror. This is good to keep an eye out for people coming up on you and knowing what they're gonna do. My grips are the Ergon GP3. I would have rather gotten the 4 because I do grab these quite a bit. And these have been on the whole 10,000. The rubber does break down and get a little sticky and then starts accumulating dirt that keeps it from being sticky, but then your hands will get like a black stuff on them. And they've taken some tumbles. This is the rubber coming off. I have these micro shift friction shifters. I really liked having friction shifters with the 9-speed here. I never had to do anything with my derailleur down there, like fine tuning it. No issues from the derailleur or the micro shift friction shifters the whole 10,000 miles. This is a Rockbro phone holder. I don't like this. So I have a nice Pixel phone, and the Rockbro phone holder just is not secure. I've since bought a Peak Design. I just haven't put it on or switched them out. But I bought the Peak Design magnetic phone holder and the case that goes on the back of the phone here. I had my phone fly off of this Rockbro one 3 times. One time scratched the lens, but not right over the lens, so it doesn't mess with photos. If you have a nice phone, get a nice secure phone holder, a quad lock, a Peak Design, something. Don't go budget on something that's holding something not budget. The small rig clamp here I like a lot. I'd use this to hold my phone to get a few shots. It's not very secure, so I just use it for light duty stuff like on a smooth paved road. And I also use it to unclamp and clamp onto a tree branch or a road sign or something to get a shot without needing to bring a selfie stick that, you know, extends up 5 feet. This is my Expedition Unit field bag. This thing I got before getting on the Great Divide, so this is maybe 3,000 miles of use on this, before I had the Ortlieb, traditional Ortlieb handlebar bag. and I'd have issues with it popping off. So I switched over to this because it's more fixed onto the handlebars. But the deal with my Ortlieb bag is I think I had it overloaded, which caused it to bounce more, and also I had it jerry-rigged on the Jones H bars. This has been doing fine. I think I will go back to the Ortlieb handlebar bag because I take that off every night and put in my tent, and I just got tired of fiddling around with Velcroing it on, Velcroing it off every night, every morning. I know it's not a big deal. I just found it annoying. And then down here is a Sea to Summit 13-liter river dry bag. And in there I keep my tent, and on the way home I had a Outpost XL bivy sack that I had in here too for cowboy camping and colder nights. And it's strapped on with 2 of these larger volet straps. These are just a couple water bottles I got for $5 at a used gear store. I used to have a stainless steel water bottle, but I went with one of these slightly bigger Nalgene's, and I've been enjoying this. And I have this aftermarket cap on it that I really like, made by Human Gear. This thing's pretty nice. I really like this cap. And I would explain more mechanical stuff, but I don't know it. So yeah, I don't know what to say about the mechanical stuff. I just have a regular seat post. I got this on Amazon. It was like 16 bucks, but it's 2 bolts, and that makes a massive difference when you're adjusting your saddle, is having those 2 bolts on there. Previously I had a single bolt when I left for the first 1,000 miles, and trying to get my saddle positioned right was a nightmare with just 1 bolt every time I'd undo it and try and shift my saddle. It would just sling all over, and then I'd start from scratch again. So yeah, I'm not gonna get a single bolt ever again. And then this is a cheapo trekking pole. When I left, I had a fancy click stand, but my bike's heavy. In the summer, it would punch right into the asphalt on roads a lot of times, and then it would flex at an odd angle, and finally the aluminum just snapped. So since then, I used a stick from a brush pile in North Dakota for 6,000 miles or so, and then that broke and I got a trekking pole. And then the racks that I have on the front, this is the Surly front rack. This thing is a freaking beast. I've had this gallon jugs of water loaded up on top here. I've had all kinds of stuff strapped on with a lot, pretty heavily loaded. Not a single issue. And then in the back is a tubeless rear rack. This guy's done perfectly fine. I haven't had any issues with my racks at all. I thought I'd start with my clothing I'd usually wear. I have this sun hat. This is from Sunday Afternoon, and it has a little button down here. You can unbutton this, put it around your neck. This thing saved me from quite a few burns. I don't like to put sunscreen on too often, so I just try to cover up. But you can button it around here. You can take it off of the back and then just have a hat. And it has these super goofy vents here you can fold up. And I mean, it looks really goofy, but this hat's great. I really like it. And then it folds. The bill has a split, so you can fold it up, pack it away real easy. I love this thing. This is my second one. They made such a high quality hat, with the exception of they use these little bitty plastic snaps for stuff, and these things end up tearing out over time. I don't know why they didn't go with some more durable metal that would last longer. That kind of baffles me with companies that make expensive, high quality products and then they cheap out on one little aspect that kind of messes the whole product up. And then as far as what I usually wear, so this is a common thing I'd often wear. This is a synthetic sun shirt. This one's made by Columbia. I got it at a thrift store in Colorado. This is a merino wool t-shirt from Arc'teryx. It's very expensive, but it was gifted to me, so it's not usually something I would spend the money on, although I do really like merino wool. I can wear this shirt for days and days sweating in it, and it won't start reeking real quick. This shirt has little vents in the back, and when it's really hot, like when it was 104 degrees Fahrenheit going through Moab, Utah, I would only wear this and have it buttoned up, and then the air would come through, go out the back, and keep it puffed up, and it made a massive difference in comfort. A lot of times I just wear synthetic shorts, and I got some cheap synthetic underwear I've been wearing the whole trip. I almost forgot. I always have a neck buff, or just a buff. But I always have one that stays around my neck pretty much all the time to keep the sun off my neck from burning me. Also, I'll pull it up here to keep the sun off my face sometimes. So here's my bags kind of laid out, and I'll just start, I guess, with the clothing and the back left saddlebag. All right, so this is everything in my rear left saddlebag. Also, I'll go over the saddlebag real quick. I have an extra hook on all 4 of my bags, and then I have an extra stabilizer on the 2 rear bags because I couldn't fit the front saddlebags on the Surly front rack with an extra one of these on. Anyway, so here's my clothing setup. I put it all in a pillowcase, and I just use this for my pillow at night. If it gets really cold and this gets rather small, then I will just stack some of these up and put it on top, and that works too. So just starting from the right, this is a little secret wallet. I didn't use the whole trip, but I used to carry this when I was hitchhiking. You just throw a little whatever in there, passport, money, and then you can hang it from your belt on the inside of your pants. So it's just makes it harder to get pickpocketed. This is an emergency blanket. Never used it, but after almost freezing several nights back in my 20s, I like to carry one of those just in case. These gloves came with my rain gear, Showers Pass gloves. These do all right. When it gets below freezing, they get a little bit cold. And so I made these when I was in, I think, Montana. These are the part of the legs of a pair of kids' waterproof pants I got for $1 at a thrift store. So I just cut the leg, a chunk of the leg off, and then sewed it shut at one side. And I'll wear my gloves, and I'll put these over. And then I cycled in below 20 degree Fahrenheit weather with that set up, and my hands were nice and warm. So I have 2 of those, and just a little homemade thing, sewed them up with dental floss. They're great, take up no space. This is a 100% heavy duty wool hat. Came in handy. It kind of doesn't stay on when I'm sleeping, but makes a big difference. It breaks the wind and, you know, stays warm. And this is a stuff sack I use for dirty clothes. Nothing fancy there. And then as far as clothes go, I keep these are my mid-weight merino wool thermals. These are from a company called Merino Tech. I like these things. I've had them the whole trip. And yeah, I would, if something happened to these, I would buy them again. So for whatever that's worth. But I have the top and I have the bottom. And then these are my synthetic pants. These are just these were from Costco. They were 20 bucks. You know, they have one cargo pocket. They dry real quick. They have some stretch to them. I like them a lot. So I have 1 pair of pants and 1 pair of shorts. And then I carry 3 pair of underwear. 1 I have on, 2 I'll have in the bag here. These are my waterproof socks. I think, are they by, yeah, Randy Sun. These are the extra large. I messed up when I first left and I got waterproof socks for my size foot. But you want to get larger than your size foot because I'll wear my wool socks and then put these over them, and that will keep me a lot warmer. I only ride in Crocs or maybe sandals. I didn't really ride in tennis shoes except for 400 miles of the trip where it got really cold and I didn't have the good layering system set up yet for my feet. And then here's my sleeping socks. These are REI Expedition merino wool socks. My feet tend to get cold, so I just got a thick pair. And if it's really cold, I can always put these over my riding socks, and I might even be able to put them over these socks, I'm not sure, but it gives me more layering options and also a warm pair of socks to have for sleeping at night, because I like to try and keep my sleeping socks separate from my riding socks. This is the REI packable wind jacket. You can pack it into this little pocket here, but I find I don't even do that anymore. I just shove it into my bags. This thing, I don't know if this was worth the price I paid for it. It's been functional. I wore it a lot, used it a lot, and it's still working, so maybe it was, but this was like $80 for this super thin little nylon windbreaker. And then these are women's warm-up dance pants. So they are just a thin nylon. I mean, it's exactly what a windbreaker is. They're called body wrappers. These things are awesome. I love these things. I use them quite a few times. They pack up to nothing. I think they weigh like less than 4 ounces. And when I got them, they were like 20 bucks. So yeah, I mean, that is freaking cool. And yeah, so on my way back to St. Louis from Arizona, I stopped and got some Reebok thermals from Walmart, and I doubled them up with these wool thermals because it was getting cold some places, like well below freezing at night. This was unnecessary. I could have utilized some of my other layers here and I would have been fine, but I just had a 1,500 mile brain fart, and so I spent 30 bucks on a set of thermals that I didn't need. But whatever, these are super soft and comfortable. And so that is my clothing setup. Next up is the 31-liter rack pack. In here, it's pretty simple. I try to keep this light because it's sitting on top and I don't want it torquing when I'm turning. So in here, I just keep my Enlightened Equipment quilt. This is the 850 fill down quilt, and it's the long wide version because I like to toss and turn. I will probably never go back to a regular sleeping bag. I love having a quilt. This thing did great. However, I will be replacing this with a synthetic version of it from Enlightened Equipment because I was having trouble with moisture and wetness throughout chunks of the trip, and I just feel safer and better with a synthetic. If you're not familiar with these quilts, here's the foot box. You can unbutton this, and then unzip it, uncinch right here, and you basically have a tapered blanket. And this came in handy for wrapping up in cold weather. I could sit in the tent, wrap up in this, and just be all bundled up and cozy. I have my Apex Tora jacket. This thing is phenomenal. I'd highly recommend this one. I really like this jacket here. It's incredibly warm for the weight, and yeah, I like it a lot. And then here's my Wide C. It's like the Z-Lite, something like that. It's a knockoff variant of that. I didn't notice any difference at all. They're probably made in the same warehouse or factory. This one's got brown on top, which I liked more. And this is my second mat because they tend to squish through pretty quick. This kind of like egg carton thing squishes out, and then you start losing insulation value, and pretty soon you might as well just be sleeping on the ground. And then I carry glasses case because I can't see, so I need to keep my glasses safe. This is a Sea to Summit head net. I would always recommend having a head net of some kind. It can make the difference between going completely insane in mosquito country and you know, not. And this is my Nature Hike sleeping bag liner. I like this a lot. I use it to keep my down bag clean. I also use it just for warm nights. It's just a super thin polyester sheet, nothing fancy. There's not really any stretch to it. It is wider than I think a traditional mummy bag. I found that I could kind of like toss and turn in it just fine. And it's small, it's lightweight. What do they have the weight listed on here? It just says ultralight. But I like it. And that is my 31 liter rack pack. So this is the right rear saddlebag. This one's changed around quite a bit. Right now I have kind of a bunch of random stuff in it, and I try to keep the weight balanced with the clothing one. This one tends to be just a little heavier, but... So this is everything I have in there. Rain poncho. This is the One Wind ultralight 1.1 ounce Silnon ripstop sil nylon. This is the large version. I'm still testing this, so I can't say. I used it once in some light rain and it did okay. This is the Hydro Pack 1 liter collapsible Nalgene bottle, which I used as a pee jug. It does come in handy. As weird as it is, as gross as it sounds, on really cold nights when you don't want to get out of your tent, or let's say a mountain lion screaming just woke you up and you don't want to get out of your tent to pee, having a little collapsible pee jug is very handy. This is my kind of like bathing setup. Is 2 of these scrubby gloves. Put a little water on them, scrub yourself off in the tent, and then dry off. This is my water filtration. It's a Sawyer Squeeze. And I have the Canuck bags, Canuck bags. I have 2 2-liter ones. The blue is for clean water, and then the orange is for dirty water. And I do like a gravity feed. And then this is my portable hard drive and a couple of flash drives with emergency documents and stuff on there. This is my Nature Hike 24 liter collapsible backpack. This thing came in handy. I do think it's a good idea to carry a collapsible backpack of some kind. It's nice if you have camp set up, you can run to the grocery store, load this up. If you're going to do an extended jaunt into the national forest or go camping for, you know, a while longer than usual, you can, you know, take out your backpack, load it up with extra food or whatever. So yeah, I recommend having some kind of collapsible backpack. This is my hygiene kit. It's pretty standard: toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, and you can use it for sewing as well. Little thing of deodorant. Earplugs. I always carry earplugs. Anytime I travel, I carry earplugs. It just helps out a ton camping next to train tracks or a busy road. This is my little Altoids 10 deal. Collapsible scissors, tweezers, a little nail file, a couple needles that are in a piece of inner tube here. This is a stitch remover. It came with my zipper repair kit that I bought for the tent. I probably don't need to have that, but whatever. And this is a little tooth scraper. And this is some of the thread that came with the tent repair kit, so I just threw it in here. And this stuff is a tea tree oil that's mixed with a carrier oil. This is great for saddle sore management. I got this for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I don't know anything about the quality. It's probably not the best, but it did help out with saddle sore management. And this is my very pitiful First aid kit. All right, so in my first aid kit, I got a bunch of Band-Aids. These are the bigger ones. I figured I could just cut them down to size if I needed to. Bleed stop, which luckily I didn't have to use because I usually pass out when I start bleeding. It would be hit and miss if I could dig this out in time. Liquid Band-Aid or liquid bandage. This stuff, I love this stuff. I used it for several cuts later on in the trip. Really, really handy. It also sterilizes at the same time. Ibuprofen and Tylenol, good stuff. And then allergy pills. This is some old Salmonpas, which is good for some, general muscle aches. In here I have triple antibiotic, some alcohol pads, some anti-diarrhea pills, and I think that's it. And then I'd also carry, on top of the ibuprofen and Tylenol, I'd carry Aleve, like a 12-hour variant of ibuprofen, basically. And this is my Big Blue 28-watt solar charger. I've gone through several solar panels over the course of the trip. This one has pretty good output. It's a little on the heavy side. It's like 1.2 pounds. But this can keep all of my stuff charged up. What you want to be careful of with these type of solar panels is the bend in the middle here. You don't want to flex it too much, because where the wires connect the panels, you can break the solder points, and then you have a worthless solar panel that you're hauling around. That happened to me with 2 different panels, one of which was an older Big Blue 28-watt. I had it over my green rack pack, and I had it bungeed down to where it was flexing the panels through the middle here, and it ended up breaking it after a month. So if you get one of these, they're good. They got nice output. They have 3 ports on the inside here, 2 USB-C and 1 regular USB port. But I can keep all of my little gizmos charged up and not need to go sit somewhere near an outlet for a few hours if I use this on a regular basis. So that is everything in my rear right saddlebag. And now I'll move up to the frame bag there. All right, I lost the footage of my frame bag here. I think my battery died on the camera while I was doing it. So I'll get into this. This is the contents of my frame bag, the large Ortlieb frame bag. I have a few large zip ties, a few small zip ties. These came in handy for several things throughout the trip. And I guess starting on the right here, my pump. This is the Lezyne, L-E-Z-Y-N-E. Love this thing. However, the numbers do rub off of here, and they didn't last too long. But fantastic pump. This thing is a tank. Then I have some Gorilla Tape, duct tape here, electric tape here. This is my tent poles and my tent stakes. An emergency backup chain. This is a Keep Honest People Honest lock. It just gives me a peace of mind if I go into a store for a little bit, but I'm sure if someone was even mildly interested, they could cut this pretty easily. I have 3 volet straps. So 2 of these, one of them's kind of a spare, and 2 of them are in case I have a longer water haul. I will use these to strap a gallon jug or something onto the top of the front Surly front rack on my bike. So I've used these for gallon jugs or extra water bottles and stuff, so I carry these just in case I do that. And then one in case one of these 2 breaks here. Spare inner tube. I usually just carry 1. If it's an especially long stretch, I'll carry 2, but oftentimes I'll carry 1 tube. I have a patch kit, all that stuff. I don't have tubeless tires. If I'm not in a hurry, then I'll leave this in the bike. I'll patch up the tube that I'm using. If I'm in more of a hurry, then I'll just slap the new tube on, and then at the end of the day or the next day, fix the tube with a hole in it. Here's a little a little sink stopper. Here is my kind of like tire kit for the most part, and cleaning maintenance a little bit. This is the bag I get in the most, or the little thing I get in the most. I'll just dump it. So I got a microfiber. I just found these along the side of the road the whole trip. They fly off of work trucks. You can get them in perfectly brand new condition just about on the side of the road. WD-40. I don't use this as a lubricant. I use this for the water displacement property and the rust prevention. So I will use this on some of the springs for my V-brakes, my rear derailleur spring, my front derailleur spring, and on the shifters. I'll give it a little spritz in the friction shifters, micro friction shifters. That's pretty much all I use that for. Toothbrush for helping clean the chain, and then this is, I get the cleaning lubricant, so I put this on every night and give the chain a good clean and lube with this. I carry some actual like lubricant, whatever, for bike parts, for the seat post, stuff like that. Some Loctite. This is the Blue Label Loctite. And then I also carry a little thing of super glue, which I haven't used this yet. Here's my little Park Tool patch kit. And then these are some Park Tool tire boots, emergency tire boots, and I also have some larger patches here. And this is gear repair tape. So in here I have tenacious tape, and I also have tape to use on the Cenac bags. And these are my tire levers. These are the steel core Park Tool tire levers. I like these a lot. I've had them the whole 10,000 miles, used them quite a few times, and yeah, I just like the toughness of them and the durability. I'm not really that concerned about scratching my rim a little bit here or there compared to getting the tire off, getting a new tube in, and getting, rolling. So I really like these over the plastic ones. I'm not concerned about these breaking. And that's the bag I grab the most. Every night I'm grabbing this bag, or anytime I get a flat, I'm grabbing this bag. Here are a few of my tools. This one is for tightening my bottom bracket, a part of the bottom bracket. And this is an awesome little thing my buddy Tony told me about. It's for removing your rear cassette. Really cool gizmo. It's made by Unida. I'll put a link in the bottom there. I got this on Amazon, and I've used it several times. It also has a spoke key right there, or a spoke wrench on the bottom of it. So that replaces a pair of pliers, a chain whip, and the bigger, bulkier cassette removal nut or tool, whatever. These things are really cool. This is for to break a quick link. You can also break your chain with it on the top here. And then it has a bottle opener, a rotor tuning thing, and a valve core adjuster, and then it also holds some extra quick links. But I really like this. And in here is just bits and bobs for repairs and maintenance stuff. Have a little bit of extra inner tube here in case I need to keep something from getting scratched up. I have some of these guys. My old pair of my old brakes for an emergency. Extra set of cables for brakes and shifters. Extra buckles for my Ortlieb bags. And then some random nuts and bolts and Ortlieb stuff I don't need. There's another buckle a guy gave me. My old flywheel, is it called? I forget. But that's the old one just in case I need it. More bolts there. And then the extra cables. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my frame bag right there. All right, next up, these are the front two saddlebags. They're pretty light at the moment. A lot of times, my rear right saddlebag with all the knickknacks in it used to be spread out between these two, but as I got further out west, resupply was further apart. I consolidated it back to my rear right bag, and then these were mostly food and a few other things, food, stove, water. So in each of the front 2 bags, I have a 1.5 liter water bottle. I'll reuse these until I feel like I should probably change them out. All right, so here is my front left saddlebag. I have a little bit of the DEET-free bug spray. This is my camp cup. It's a hard anodized aluminum, 12 ounce, I think GSI. Yeah, GSI camp cup. I like having a hard cup, not one of the collapsible silicone cups, and I use the measurement markers a lot for when I'm cooking. This is a little, I think it was marketed as a bamboo spatula, and I just carved it down to fit better, and I didn't need the full length of a spatula. I don't use that too often, but I still carry it. This is my utensil kit. So I have my long handle titanium spork. I do like having a long handle utensil a lot. And then a GSI plastic knife. This is nice for spreading peanut butter, jelly, jam, all that stuff. And these are the titanium tent stakes that go with my Trail Design cook pot and stove setup here. And then I always carry 3 or more spare plastic bags. They come in handy for all kinds of stuff. And this is a knife sharpener, which I'm not even sure if I need this, but I carry it anyway. It's made by Smith's, and it's got a carbide sharpener, ceramic sharpener, and then this little guy for if you're going to do some serrated sharpening. And this is the Trail Designs cook pot and stove combo. This is the 1350 milliliter cook pot with fry pan lid. It also comes with the regular lid right here. Inside I keep a bandana just for washing out my pot and drying it and stuff. This is some of the spicy Montreal steak seasoning. I went from carrying a bunch of seasoning when I left to now I just usually carry 1, maybe 2. These things are great. These little scrapers. This one's by GSI. Other companies make them. I highly recommend some kind of scraper for your cook pot. They're really nice. This one has a softer edge and a hard edge. And then the lighter. And the rest of this is the stove kit. This is the pot cozy I made. Now that I've made a pot cozy and done pot cozy cooking, I'm always going to have a pot cozy for whatever setup I have. I could bring rice to boil, pop this in here. I put the regular lid on it, pop the top on, go do whatever for 20 minutes, come back to perfectly cooked rice. This is the stove here, and then I got the Inferno upgrade for the Trail Designs. I'm not going to be taking this with me when I leave. So one of my issues with the ultralight stuff, some of it, like my Deore jacket, I love that thing. My quilt from Enlightened Equipment, I love that. But some stuff like this, it's just too, I accidentally barely stepped backwards and nearly completely ruined this, along with a titanium windscreen / pot holder. And there's some ultralight equipment that it's insanely expensive and it's also insanely fragile. And I tend to be a little bit rougher with stuff sometimes. So something like this, I thought it was a good idea. The stove is genius. It is insanely efficient. But I don't like cooking on titanium, I found out. And also I don't want something where, like, let's say I stumble and just barely go sideways and then boom, my stove is ruined. The whole system's messed up. So I'm going with a Firebox Nano. I got the titanium version and I'm using my old cook setup basically that I had for a long stretch of the trip. I'll show that later. And one of the things I didn't like about the fry pan here is the way the handle's set up. So when I fried up an egg and then gave this to my friend, you grab it and your hands squeeze, and then the egg goes right down on the ground. That's something you have to be very aware of when using the fry pan here. And I carry a little thing of soap and some extra Ziplocs. I don't wash myself with soap. I didn't even think that was a thing until watching another cycle tourist on YouTube. He said he doesn't use soap. I started Googling it. Apparently no soap is kind of like a thing. Yeah, so I just use soap for washing my hands, washing my clothes, and that's it. And then other than that, I just scrub off and jump in a river or lake when I can. And your skin, I know it sounds weird, crazy, but your body oils adapt to not having them, all your oils stripped off 1 to 2 times a day from harsh soaps. And your body adapts to it, and then you forget that you ever used it to begin with. And I don't have any hair, so I don't worry about oily hair. Anywho, that is my front left saddlebag. I forgot to go over this. This is part of the Trail Designs kit. This is the, I don't even know what word to use. You put this on the ground and it protects the ground from getting like a burn scar if you're going to use the Inferno upgrade and have a cook fire with the Trail Design system. Front right saddlebag. It doesn't look like much. These are my food bags that would usually have something going on in them. The green ones would get split. One green would be for dinner, one green would be for lunch, and then blue has always been breakfast. And these will get shifted between the front right and the front left saddlebag depending on weight I need to distribute. I keep a little Ziploc with little electrolyte mixes and instant coffee sticks, preferably not Folgers because it tastes terrible, but it works. This is my journal. Always carry a journal. Writing helps me calm down and think more clearly. This is my collapsible Bluetooth keyboard. I only carry my phone. I don't carry a laptop. This thing's fantastic, and it's not that much bigger than a phone, really. This thing is great for when I'm writing blog posts or just if I'm going to type to a friend for a while, whatever. And then a Kindle. This is technically a Kobo. I like it. I don't read that much when I'm more actively cycling, like trying to get some decent distance in. But when I'm camping out more and traveling slowly, I read a lot. So I just carry this. It's as heavy as one book, and I have 1,000 books on here. So, and this is something I'm never getting rid of. I didn't think it was something needed, but a little trowel. This is the Vargo titanium trowel here. I love this thing. Had it the whole 10,000 miles, and this is after using it on a very regular basis, and it's still perfectly good. There's no burrs on the front even. It digs great through all kinds of stuff. These cut through roots really well, and with the top folded over right here, I never had it cut into my hand. Good stuff. And this is just a little Harley Davidson sunglasses bag I found on the side of the road. So I'll stuff it with napkins from gas stations, wherever, for toilet paper. This slides right on top. And you have a little grab and go toilet kit. And then of course one of these other 1.5 liter water bottles. And that leaves us pretty much with just the handlebar bag here. So, I'll have my little battery bank. This is a 20,000 milliamp hour by Inui. I love this thing. This is pretty great. And then it has a little Type C to Type C cable that works as a lanyard, like carrying a lanyard. I like it a lot. Condom, just in case. It's probably going to expire. Sunglasses that clip right onto my glasses, so they have little magnets built in here, and then my eyeglasses have magnets built in, so I can just pop those on. Bic lighter. This is kind of a backup spare. These things are great. This is for if I'm wearing pants, I'll buckle this around my leg. This will keep my pants leg from getting chewed up by the drivetrain. Here's my charging kit. I carry a heavy charging block. This is a fancy Anchor one. You can get knockoff brands that are cheaper, but this has a high output charging capability, like 65 plus watts. And so this battery bank can take 65 plus watts input. So I can charge up this 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank in, I think, 2 hours rather than 6 to 8 hours like some of these take. So that way I can stop and fully recharge in just a, hour to 2 hours. And then I have a couple of Type-C to Type-C cables, a shorter one, a longer one, and my other cable's not in there. I have a micro USB cable. And then this right here is a USB to Type-C converter, which comes in handy once in a while when I need to use all 3 of these for Type-C or something. This is my knife. Some people on the Great Divide, some hikers, super ultralight hikers, gave me crap for this, but I don't care. Weighed like a few ounces heavier than theirs. I like doing some bushcraft stuff, so having a nice fixed blade is just really nice. And this is a Mora knife. It's a Mora Companion HD stainless steel. Mora knives are amazing. I really like this one. I thought about getting something smaller and lighter, but it would only save me like 2 ounces, maybe 3 ounces, and I'm just really not worried about it. So I'll be carrying this again when I leave. And let's see, this is the shoulder, this is the strap for my handlebar bag. You clip it on the sides, turn it into a little messenger bag. I like carrying some arthritis cream. I had Achilles issues several times during the 10,000 miles, and this came in handy. You can apply it straight to your Achilles right here, and it helps out a lot with reducing the inflammation and the pain. You can also use it for like the top of your knees when I would sometimes have a little bit of an issue here, and if I wasn't using my other medication, I'd use this. Stick sunscreen. It's good for when you remember it, to keep your nose from burning off or getting sun poisoning, which happened to me. And then this is the headlamp I had at the time, although I have a different one now. This is the Black Diamond Spot R. It works well enough. This little touch area here, so this will flip it into turbo mode if you tap. That's annoying as all hell. And I don't know how to turn it off. I don't think you can without taking it apart. And then the cycle button here is nice, cycling between flood, red, and spot. But yeah, I hate this turbo button. I'd accidentally hit it, and when I'm stealth camping, I don't want to send off a signal that I'm camping out. And this is a merino wool buff. It's heavier duty than the one around my neck. I'd use this in colder weather, either around my neck or as a light hat on my head. But I really like having a heavier merino wool buff and then a lighter one for sun protection to keep around my neck. And this is just a little phone clip that I'd sometimes use to get pictures. And this here is a travel bidet. So it's called Kool Clean, and it has a little hole right there, and then it has 2 rings that are narrower and 2 rings that are wider, so it can fit in various bottles. And this is just a little juice bottle. So I fill this up with water. One of these bottles lasts a long time before the plastic starts to break and you get a little hole in it. I've had this bottle since maybe California, I think. You fill it up with water, you punch that in there, and then you can clean your butt off with a jet of water rather than just dry paper that smears things around. And this is a massive, I'm never getting rid of this thing. I know maybe it's weird, but cleaning your butt with water, and then, you spray things off, and then you run some toilet paper through. And that makes a huge difference in hygiene, especially in the long run with the way I travel. And after living in Vietnam and getting used to using bidets, I don't ever want to go back to just using dry paper to clean poop off my butt. It just seems crazy and gross. That's pretty much it. One other thing that I do carry with me is a waist pack bum bag, or in the US we call them fanny packs, but I know that's not the preferred thing to call them most other places. And in there I'll just keep like a notebook and pen. I always keep a little notebook on me since I was hitchhiking back in my 20s, a little glasses cleaner, and just some other little knickknacks in here. Headphones, chapstick, I'll keep my passport, you know, in there, and wallet in there. Oh, and usually I keep this in my handlebar bag. I forgot I put it in my my waist pack. I have a little pair of these, I can't pronounce them, Kinnipex. These are like the Cobra XS pliers. I like these a lot. And then I carry the Toe Peak ratchet set. I'll show this. I love this thing. This thing has been great. The Ratchet Rocket Light DX, fantastic. Just don't expect these to stay in here. These are going to fall out, so make sure it's in somewhere sealed so you don't lose these bits, and then something happens and you open it up and the bits are gone, or some of them are gone, and you're screwed. So it's got a little extender. I got rid of the cheap tire levers they had in here, and then they have those bits in there and this little ratchet. I've had this the whole 10,000 miles. Not a single issue with it ever, except a piece falling out once in a while. But then I just dig it out of the bottom of my handlebar bag and it'd be fine. Yeah, really love this. And the base is magnetic too, so if you're using two bits back and forth, you can pop one of them right there. And it'll hold it in, and then you can switch them back and forth without digging through here every time. So yeah, that's a fantastic little bit of kit, and it's got a little belt loop, but like I said, the bits do fall out if you're bouncing around real hard, so just be aware if you do buy this. This is my 10,000 mile, year-and-a-half gear breakdown. I keep reshooting this over and over. I'm getting tired of doing it. I hope it helps you out. Whether you're new to traveling via bicycle or not new to it, maybe there is a item here or there you thought, oh, that's cool, I'll get that. But keep in mind, all this stuff will go on sale. So like a lot of these outdoor companies, they will have spring, summer, winter sales. Keep an eye out. I know Enlightened Equipment, Revelet Design does it. REI, if you're in the USA, they'll have sales throughout the year. And there's for Amazon, you can use Camel. It's a website, so you can check to see when the products go on sale and what the sale prices are. You can look at like a 1, 2, 3 year history, lifetime of the product, price history. And that can help save you some money, or you can also always go on eBay and stuff like that and get secondhand or used products. Anywho, that's all I got. Hopefully I helped you out. Thanks for watching, and I'll be shooting a video going over the items that I'm going to be changing out. I'm changing up my cook pot, my headlamp, a few other bits here and there. So that'll be for another day. And yeah, have a good one.
Hello, Jake. Calvin Jones here, Parkville Company, wishing you a great trip. I hope you get lots of miles. You have lots of interesting times. And if you have a repair, I hope it's interesting repair. You fix it with your knowledge of physics and maybe some bacon strips and maybe some cattails, and it all comes off well. You have a good trip. See you around.